Let's make a spicy seitan sausage. Okay, to get started on this, we're gonna prep some veg. And I just have here, what do I have?
Half an onion.
And the recipe calls for how many cloves of garlic?
4.
So we're using, that looks like about 7 or 8. That's pretty much the way I do my recipes. I put a certain number and then I use a lot more. The onion, don't get too prissy about it. We're gonna end up cooking it and blending it anyway. So just a rough chop is fine. And the garlic, same concept. Just gonna kind of chop them into chunks, maybe smaller than that. As you can tell, for this part, precision is really not all that crucial. You just basically want to break up the veg a little bit so it cooks down a little. If you make the garlic too small, it's going to burn really, really easy. So that's why I'm keeping it a little on the large side. So this is going to go into a pan. But before we do, we did say this is going to be a spicy seitan sausage. So what are we going to use for spice in this, Derica?
Arbol chilies. Dried, please.
We have 5 arbol chilies here. Now, these are not the hottest peppers that you can get, but they are actually quite spicy, and they do add a really nice flavor. I'm just going to cut the ends off. See, you don't want to put those stems into your sausage. But the seeds and everything else, oh yeah, they're staying. I want this to be spicy. And I'm just going to kind of chop them a little bit. They don't have to be too broken up, but just a little bit. They fly around when you cut them, so just be careful. See, all the seeds come out. And just, cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria.
Pepper confetti.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, let's get the cooktop out here and we'll start cooking these up. One thing that I really do like to have in my sausage is fennel seeds. And how much fennel seeds are we toasting up today?
1.5 tablespoons.
I have a pan over medium-low heat, and I'm just going to put them into that pan. You do not want to walk away at this point. You want to just spread them out a little bit. And we're toasting them. What that does is it brings some of the essential oils to the surface and gives them a nice roasty, nutty flavor that works well in sausage. Your whole house will start to smell like fennel seeds. Okay, it doesn't take long, maybe just a couple of minutes. And I did turn the heat up to about medium just to speed the process up a little bit, but be very careful because they can burn just as quick as they toast. You shouldn't see color when they're toasted. You should just really smell them. And right now, do you smell it, Derica?
I smell it.
Yeah, they're pretty, what's the, aromatic. That's the word. Words, language, hard. Okay, after just a couple of minutes, like 2-3 minutes tops, they should really not look all that different, but you should really be smelling them. And that's how you know they're done. So I'm going to cut the heat and we're going to move them back to something to cool. All right, with our fennel seeds done, I'm going to turn the heat back on to about medium, and we're going to add in our garlic and onion. At this point, if you really feel the need, you can add a little bit of olive oil. I tend to do it without it, but you can if you want to. It does alter the flavor just a little bit, enhances the flavor, I should say, and it keeps things from sticking. I am using a nonstick pan, though, so I don't worry about it quite as much. And we're going to be adding liquid soon anyway. What we're really looking to do here is just soften up these vegetables a little bit. We don't want them to get like too much color or anything like that. We just want to soften them up so that they are technically cooked. If at any point your veggies feel like they might be sticking or starting to burn, you can turn the heat down a little bit and you can add just a touch of water or veggie broth. That'll actually help them cook. But these sausages get cooked later, so it's not crucial, just something to be aware of. And now the house smells like fennel seeds, onions, and garlic, which, I mean, does it get much better than that? Okay, once I start seeing, see, there's a little bit of color on that piece of garlic. The onions are nice and translucent. I'm going to add our arbol peppers to that and turn the heat down a little bit. Once the pepper starts stinging your eyes, you know that it's hot. So I'm going to add in some water. Be careful, it's going to steam. What this is doing is cooling the pan down for one, but it's also going to hydrate those chilies. And now I'm going to turn the heat all the way to max and boil this down until the pan's just about dry. I just like to keep it moving around so nothing sticks, and that way all of the liquids and everything gets absorbed by everything in the pan. This is going to spread some of the heat throughout your veggies too, which is helpful when you make a sausage and you want everything to be evenly distributed. You do not want the pan to go dry because things will start to burn. And that's definitely not a flavor compound we're going after. All right, we're just about there. I'm going to kill the heat, and we're going to move this into the bowl of our food processor. Also into the food processor, we're going to add those toasted fennel seeds. Now, I like to blend them up because in a seitan, they break up the texture a little bit too much for me, so I tend to blend them. What else goes into the liquid here?
Half a cup to 3/4 cup water.
I'm going to just put in most of that water for now and leave a little bit behind, just in case we don't need it all.
2 tablespoons white wine vinegar. 1 tablespoon balsamic vinegar.
That adds this extra flavor component that, you know, it's just kind of undeniable.
I highly encourage you not to cheap out and get the cheapest balsamic vinegar. That's really not going to bring the intensity of flavor that we're looking for in this sausage. I'll put a link to the specific balsamic vinegar we're using in the description below.
And now we blend. Next step, we're going to put our dry ingredients in. And the first ingredient is
1 cup Vital Wheat gluten.
Yes, you really do need Vital Wheat gluten to make this. We get asked this a lot, and there are alternative ways of making a seitan-like product, but it won't actually be seitan, so you need Vital Wheat gluten.
2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. 1 tablespoon garlic powder. 1 tablespoon onion powder. 1 tablespoon chicken bouillon. Now, I said it that way because obviously this isn't chicken, it's just chicken flavored.
Fresh cracked black pepper.
More or less half a teaspoon.
It's a spicy sausage. Black pepper kind of goes hand in hand with that.
1 teaspoon smoked paprika. 1 tablespoon dried basil. And 1 tablespoon dried oregano.
I know it sounds like a lot of seasoning, but when you're working with things that don't have the flavor of animal products in them, you need a lot of seasoning to really bring out the flavors.
And sausage is all about the seasoning, really.
And I just want to mix this up real good. And then we're going to add our pureed, food processed liquid ingredients. And as you notice, not all the fennel seeds break up, so you do still get some of that texture. I like to clean out my food processor real good, get all the stuff that I paid for into the sausage. And now, mix this up. If it feels too dry, put in more of the water that we held back earlier. I don't know yet. It's a mystery.
It's Schrodinger's sausage.
Sure, we'll go with that. Okay, it does look just a little bit dry to me, so I am going to add in some of that water. I still have like a couple tablespoons here. Put in half of that. It should be moist because you want it to be moist. I mean, sausage is supposed to be like moist and juicy, right? But you don't want it to be like wet. If your hands are very sensitive to spicy food, you might want to put on rubber gloves before you use the best tools available to you, which is your hands. I'm going to risk it. I'm just going to do it. This is how I did it last time, so, you know, why break a trend? What I want to do is make this mass just get all the stuff off the sides of the bowl. There's no reason to leave anything in this bowl. And it will break apart a little bit because, as you can see, there's chunks. Some of the peppers and some of the onion don't break up fully. And I kind of like that. I like having a little bit of texture, but I don't want too much that it breaks up the seitan completely. Now that I've mopped up the bowl here, put it out on your cutting board. If little pieces start to fall off, it's okay, just put them back in. And I'm just going to give it a quick knead just to bring it all together. See how that's forming the gluten strands? It's holding together nicely. Beautiful, that's what we want. It actually smells really good already. Now that I got it to this point, this is where we're going to start forming our sausages. Oop, 1 chunk of onion. I think that's a little bit big. I'm going to just discard that. Now this is where we're going to start forming the sausages. And for that, I'm going to make 6. So I'm going to cut it in half. I mean, they're roughly equal in dignity, I think. Something like that. Maybe not. Let's do this. There we go. Now they're equal in dignity. And I'm going to cut each of those into thirds. You can measure it if you want to. I tried that, and I still got different size sausages because when you roll them up, they still come out a little bit different. All right, so there's our 6 sausages, and I'm just going to form these into a ball to be able to set them to the side. I'm just going to move these onto a plate to put them to the side so I have room for rolling. Next step, wipe off your cutting board because it's all wet and nasty, and you don't really want it that way. And the next step is rolling. For that, I have 6 sheets of parchment here. This is like maybe 8 or 9 inches wide, and they were just cut in half, so it's a full length. And I'm just going to take each piece, drop it on there. This is just the first step, so don't get crazy on me. and kind of form it into a sausage-ish like shape. Take the first part, roll it over, and while you're holding that, you're going to take your board scraper and just kind of force it into shape. See? Look at that. Perfect sausage shape. Keeping it relatively tight, roll that up, crimp the ends. It's not going to stay real good until we put it into tin foil next, or aluminum foil, however you like to say it. I'm just going to do this on all 6, and I'll be back in a sec. Once you have them wrapped in parchment, now we're going to wrap them in tin foil. And for that, I did basically the same thing. We just have 6 pieces of tin foil about the same size. Take your sausage, drop it on the tin foil, and you can use the dough cutter a little bit just to push it, keep it tight, but it's not absolutely necessary at this point. Wrap it up. You want to keep them pretty tight because seitan has a tendency to expand. Now, to wrap them properly, see, I can feel the end, and I just give it a twist. And twist it up good. You do not want this to unwind. And I'm using enough tin foil on each one to wrap it at least 2 to 3 times. There's 2 to 3 layers because they want to expand. They might explode. You don't want that to happen. Again, same concept for all of them. I'll just push this over, push back a little bit, roll it up, crimp the end, and crimp the end. And now I'm just going to do the rest. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, at the end, you should have 6 relatively similar in size sausages. Hey, you know what? They're different. You know what we call that? Homemade. That's what we call that. So
It's
next,
artisanal.
Artisanal. I even like that better. Next, I have a steaming basket. Now, if you don't have a steaming basket, any type of steamer will actually do the job for this. Yes, we steam them. I've found it gives the best texture. I just kind of curl the tails in a little bit so that they fit. And 3 per level seems to work really well. I do have a pot of water already coming to a boil on the stove. Once it comes to a boil, I drop it down to like medium high just to keep it at a simmer. I don't need it to be like a long, hard boil. I just need it to be, simmering. And then we put this on top 40 minutes. So we'll see you then. And after 40 minutes of steaming and some time to cool, we have our sausages. Now, I'm just going to set these on the side for a moment and get one of these out so you can see what they look like. It's really easy. Some people like to resave the aluminum foil. I can never seem to do that, but I'm going to try. See if I could do it. This side looks a little dubious. I don't think it's going to work. Nope.
It's a matter of patience, and
I don't have patience.
Brian is lacking in that department.
Okay, and then you take it out of there, and then we unwrap it from the parchment, and we have our lovely plant-based spicy sausage. Now, we're going to take some pictures of these, and we'll be back to show you how they taste. And now the best part of every cooking video, where we get to eat the stuff. I'm sorry you don't get to share in that. It's probably a little selfish of me to make those kind of statements, but... So I noticed when I was preparing these for pictures and filming and stuff, the texture on these is absolutely incredible. I'm going to use my fingers. But see how springy and bouncy that is? It's perfect. They're going to be a little spicy. The flavor is fantastic. There's a little kick from spice, but it's not like... See, here's the thing. I don't like super hot, spicy food. I like spicy food. But when there's no flavor, it's really just not that great to me. These are a really nice, hot Italian sausage. That's literally what they are. They're a little hotter than I might normally make an Italian sausage, but the texture, the flavors, everything about it is just right.
The toasting of the fennel seed really gives that extra nuance to the fennel. We've done a lot of sausage where we don't toast the fennel, and you get the fennel, and you're like, oh yeah, that's great. But toasting it really just elevates it, just that little extra bit that makes it super nice.
Now, storage options. Once they are at this stage, which means cooked, steamed, the whole thing, you can wrap these up, throw them in the freezer, keep them indefinitely. You can put them in the fridge, maybe a week to 10 days. Usage, it's sausage. Whatever you would use sausage for.
Things.
I will take a bun, put it on there, and you know what? I'm going to put ketchup on it. That's right. And that, to me, is like awesome.
We've
Cut 'em-
also grilled up sausage and peppers along with these.
I'm having more.
Put them in sauce. Basically, any way you can think of using a spicy sausage, go ahead and do that.
Now, one thing I will say, if you're going to put them into a sauce, wait until 5 to 10 minutes before serving. Because, unless they're frozen. If they're frozen, you definitely want to thaw them first.
Right.
Because it'll still swell up a little bit if you don't. So, you don't want to leave it in a sauce for too long because they will just... Oh. No, I can't talk. They will swell up, as seitan likes to do, and they'll lose the nice bouncy texture. They'll just become very spongy. So put them in at the last few minutes just to heat them through, and you're good to go. You can actually throw these on the grill. You can use a grill pan, whatever you need to do. These are just fantastic sausages all around. Well, we're probably going to eat some more sausages now. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time on The Bistro.